couple of questions before we wrap up for the week. Arizona UK, our good friend Tom Marshall. Were the other owners quietly content that the Browns gave Deshaun Watson a guaranteed contract in that it created a bar that would not be overcome? Look, they were upset at first because the concern was this is going to spread. That was the background for the effort to collude. We've managed to fend off fully guaranteed contracts through 2 separate CBA negotiations. Players asked for them, we said no, and we didn't give in. Now the Browns are gladly giving a fully guaranteed contract to Deshaun Watson. We can't have that. We can't have that. We got to stop this. That was the impetus for the whole effort to collude, and I frankly believe actual collusion. But because Watson ended up being the last guy who should have gotten a fully guaranteed contract, it does make it easier moving forward to say we're not doing it. If Watson had lived up to every penny of that deal, man, franchise quarterbacks get fully guaranteed contracts. And I go back to, it's been at least 10, 15 years ago. A prominent agent at the time told me, if you're truly a franchise quarterback, you don't need a fully guaranteed contract because you're not going to get cut. I mean, Peyton Manning did after he had 4 neck surgeries and the Colts were in position to draft the next Peyton Manning and Andrew Luck, although that didn't quite work out. And then Manning has his pick of teams. They lined up out the door when he was coming off of the 4 neck surgeries. So franchise quarterbacks tend to stay franchise quarterbacks. You don't need fully guaranteed contracts if you're a franchise quarterback. That's the other side of this. And that conversation came up because between guarantees and dollars, and I've since had that conversation with other agents, guarantees and dollars, I'll take the dollars because I'll get more dollars. If less of it's fully guaranteed, I'll get more dollars, and I'm not worried about it not being fully guaranteed. Go ahead and cut me. Someone else will sign me because I'm a franchise quarterback. So it worked out well for the league that Watson was the absolute worst candidate for a fully guaranteed contract. And then came Russell Wilson, who believed he had a fully guaranteed contract or something close to it. He got cut with a huge chunk of money owed to him in 2024. The Broncos did it in early 24 to avoid another fully guaranteed massive chunk of money, $40 million or close to it in 2025. Another example of a guy who got a big contract with a lot of guarantees who shouldn't have gotten it. J14 Mitchell, do you think the fallout from the collusion grievance could also result in maybe having a separate quarterback salary cap that would maybe allow more guaranteed money to other positions that otherwise wouldn't get it because not a QB? Look, no, there is no fallout from the collusion grievance, not unless the union wins the appeal and then ultimately gets a massive financial recovery from the league. Nothing's going to change. The league has won. The current status quo is what we're doing is working, and the league's not going to change anything with the way the salary cap operates. Now, they may try to change the funding. I firmly believe that when the next CBA is done, they're going to try to get the union to abandon getting 50 cents on every dollar by saying, hey, we have to pay all the costs out of our end, and these costs are going up and up and up. And, 50 cents on the dollar as the revenue goes up, you guys are getting a great deal here. How about a fixed number for the salary cap for the next 10 years? How about that? So I don't think the NFL is going to change anything other than trying to give the players a smaller piece of the pie, because the pie's grown to the point where you look at it and say, if you're the owners, we're giving them a lot of pie. Next from Rutgers Jets, as training camps begin to open over the next 2 weeks, how big of an issue will it be that 30 of the 32 second-round picks remain unsigned? That's a great question because, and this is the next frontier in the battle over fully guaranteed contracts, that to the extent there's collusion on that issue, the Texans stepped out of line by giving Jaden Higgins, the second pick in round 2, a fully guaranteed contract. Previously, the full guarantees for the rookies ended at round 1. And it had progressed from 20 or 21 when they first started with the current rookie wage scale in 2011. The first 20 players or thereabouts got fully guaranteed contracts, and then it was less than full. It was a percentage, and the percentage got lower and lower the lower you were drafted. Now, everybody in round 1 gets a fully guaranteed contract, and the first 2 players in round 2. The question is, from 30 to 32 in round 2, everyone's unsigned. How far is this dynamic going to spread? What percentage, how does this reconfigure the percentage of full guarantees for everyone else? And at some point, a player's just going to have to say, give me the deal that's on the table. Now, it'll probably be somebody lower in the round, and it'll maybe work its way up. But there's at 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, there's going to be a tug of war over this question of, will the full guarantees continue? And it's going to take a team to say, no way, no how. We're not going to fully guarantee it. That's it. And that'll be the dividing line. And the player needs to sign that deal. Once that's done, then you know where everybody else falls. So it's going to be a potential mess. And it's kept 30 guys from signing. It doesn't matter until training camps open, because all those guys participated in the offseason program. Once training camp opens, they won't be participating without contracts. We'll see if that works out. And I need to do some more work on. I need to look at last year's round 2 and see what the percentages were, what we're talking about by way of difference, how we can bridge this gap, and maybe we can get these deals done. Not that I care generally, but if we could offer a solution that maybe would be adopted, then it looks like we have, a little bit of influence and or know what we're talking about, which is a rarity indeed. Okay, Wasp 49, do you think eventually every cold weather team will have a dome stadium? No, because the Bills are opening a new stadium that isn't domed. So no, that's an easy answer. Now, the Browns, yes. Chicago, they want a dome stadium. The Chiefs, if they choose Missouri over Kansas City, won't have a dome stadium. If they choose Kansas, they will. All of these venues, all of these owners want to have facilities that can host events all year long. That's the key. You make more money that way. That's what's driving it. And we've seen teams systematically, going back to the Vikings when they opened the Metrodome, giving up their home field advantage for a building that can have a Super Bowl. Dome stadium, if you've got the infrastructure with the hotel spaces and the convention center and all that, dome stadium is going to get you a Super Bowl. I don't think they have it in Cleveland. They definitely have it in Chicago. They probably have it in Kansas City. That's another reason for teams to try to do it. But yeah, gone are the days, or at least rare the days will be, of the football spinning slowly, just slightly off of a perfect spiral while snowflakes fall around it. NFL films with the music playing and John Facenda and or Harry Callis speaking, that's gone. Denver, I thought of Denver too, because we've had some snow games in Denver. And in Denver, you never know what it's going to do any day of the year. They're looking at a new stadium too. I don't know whether it'll be domed or not, but all these owners, most of them seem to want dome stadiums. Matt YC1763, what level of success would North Carolina need this season in order to persuade NFL teams to consider Bill Belichick as a head coaching candidate? I think back to 2023. They were talking, we were talking, I was talking about Deion Sanders as an NFL candidate when he started 3-0 at Colorado. Now, there's some stuff that Bill Belichick needs to undo, but we have goldfish brains. We do not remember things. We focus on what's happening now. And all that crazy stuff from the CBS Sunday morning interview and Jordan Hudson, that's all died down. If Bill Belichick starts kicking ass and taking names in Carolina blue, there's going to be a different vibe. You still need an NFL team that wants him. And I thought the Buccaneers were the best candidate. They've extended Todd Bowles. They're off the list. I don't know what NFL team would do it, but if he comes out and reconfirms to everyone that he is the best game day head coach football has ever seen, and I believe that, and people in the league believe that, if he can prove that, if he can go 10-2, 8-4, 9-3, get a major bowl game, if he can do that, that's how you get people to forget the things that caused Bill Belichick to fall off the NFL's radar screen. Last one. Is this the last one? Let me see. Let me make sure it's the last one. It is the last one. B-roll 12. Do you ever see the NFL playing several games a year in Hawaii? We could have late Sunday night games. It could be a whole package that comes on after you guys are on NBC. Who remembers? Raise your hand if you, and I'm watching. Raise your hand if you remember the Sunday night that there was a Chargers-Raiders game that started at like 11:30 or 12 o'clock Eastern time. You remember that? They did it one time. You know why they didn't do it again? Nobody watched it. If people would watch, they would do it. If they could make money off of it, they would do it. Could you imagine on a regular basis the football marathon that begins at 9:30 a.m. Eastern on Sunday morning and ends at 3 a.m. Eastern on Monday morning? That is a lot of football. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 possible windows. That is finding ways to cram cheese into the crust of a pizza. If they could make money doing it, they would do it. So I don't see that happening. Games that are going to be played on a neutral site are going to be played internationally. Roger Goodell this week on CNBC made it clear they want 16 games. That's one of the things they're going to demand from the union, because right now the league is maxed out at 10. They haven't done 10 yet. They want to get to 16, and they will, just like they'll get to 18, and they will, and then they'll get to 19. And then while I'm running from the pitchfork, I'll hear that the NFL is finally playing 20 games, and I'll be able to say I was right just before, I'm thrown back into the lake of fire. Have a great weekend. We'll be posting all weekend long, as we do at PFT. We'll be back on Monday with a new edition of PFT PM. As always, thanks for some of your time. Stay safe, stay smart, stay engaged with PFT, and we'll see you back here on Monday. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.